So, when people ask me, what game are you playing and what is it like? I always struggle to answer properly because I'm German and we are like really bad at small talk. The other reason is that I haven't found a precise answer yet, and I probably never will have one. There's just so much stuff to do in Warframe, and every aspect of the game is quite unique, and so are the micro communities within this game. There are obviously the people who just play the game casually, I guess, but there are also people who focus on specific parts of the game, like level cap grinding, resource farming, fashion framing, inventing new builds, speedrunning. Some people invest most of the time in just taking screenshots of their stuff in captura mode. And, well, I'm a decorator, which means I spend like 90% of my playtime with just like placing down items and try to make them look nice. Decorating is so niche in this game. This community is so small, I'd be surprised if it's more than like 1% of the entire player base. And yet, DE gave us so much love and freedom to customize our orbiters and dojos already, it's insane. I'm saying this beforehand because I want to make clear that I do understand everything DE does for the decorating community is them going out of their way, and I'm thankful for every little crumble they give us to make our experience better. Besides having this understanding, I still wish to have more nice things for the aspect of the game I enjoy the most, so I asked the Orbiter decorators within our Discord which changes or additions they would like to see and compiled their wishes in this video. Please note, this is not supposed to be a rant, it's rather us humbly asking DE for more nice things, so please behave in the comments. We're gonna start with a big one. Redzones. If I had to guess why they exist, it's probably because DE wants to make sure we can still access all interactables. But as a decorator, and I'm sure every other decorator watching this will agree, they are the nemesis of our kin, the bane of our existence. Please, 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 DE. Remove red zones from orbiters. Because of red zones, most people simply block off entire sections of their ship rather than trying to implement those red zones into the build because it doesn't really fit the theme or they are simply in the way. I know most red zones have been removed from dojos and it would be super nice to get the same treatment for orbiters. They are also very inconsistently spread across the ship. The Sentinel station, for example, has a red zone, while the Foundry and the Mod station have none. And this inconsistency is tough to explain to new decorators. For example, the floor underneath the market table didn't have a red zone until the Veilbreaker update. So as far as I can tell, they only cause frustration. Also, there's this red zone bug that happens sometimes after staying for too long in the orbiter. We can negate this by simply reloading the area, but it would be nice to have this fixed. I don't know if this is a known issue, so I figured I'd just quickly mention it here. The biggest red zone out of them all is caused by the room boundaries themselves. I do understand why they exist, but decorating in Warframe is relying heavily on the ability to clip items through walls, floors or other items. And having the room boundaries so tight to the interior, especially on the floor, is handicapping us tremendously. Lastly, I want to add that these placeable interactables are adding red zones, which is causing even more confusion and overcomplicates decorating in general. The ability to move the Conclave console is a blessing, and we love you for that. And we would love you even more if we could do that with every console. The very obvious one is more capacity. The reasoning behind the limitation is not completely known to me, but I suspect it's DE simply allowing each player to add X amount of storage used from their end. I can be wrong about that, I'm just trying to justify it for myself here. However, we would like to have more. I wouldn't mind if it's a purchasable thing from the market. Like, think of it like buying Warframe slots. For example, you can buy 100 capacity for each room of your orbiter for 500 plat, up to a certain limit. Or separate the hallway with the railjack entry from the arsenal. That way we would have 2 rooms with 1600 capacity. I see a lot of people blocking this area out of their builds because there's simply not enough capacity to have a detailed arsenal and railjack entry at the same time. The next one is a little bit much to ask, but this is a wish list, so yeah. I know some people that would do wild things to see this added, myself included. Because we got a completely decorated orbiter but still want to keep decorating. The problem is we would have to reset the entire ship. So it would be really nice to have the option to switch to another orbiter loadout. I think this could be a good option for monetization too, but I also understand that this is a buttload of work to add into the game. Dojos have polychromes and they open up some really cool build options. And we would love to have this in orbiters too. It would be nice to have the ability to hide the hanging cables in the orbiter or the debris or the junk that is around the dorm zone. And the same goes for the infestation in the Hammond room. If we could just like have a toggle to hide them on free will, that would be awesome. The tertiary color channels, which affect the metallic pieces of the ship, also affects the transference share and the stencils in the personal quarters. Means if you want golden metallics in your ship, you're bound to go with a squeaky yellow transference share. And we think it shouldn't be that way. Orbiter builds can be quite narrow in certain areas, and it's really tough to get into some places with the camera. And it would be really nice if the hitbox of the camera was either smaller or non-existent. Also, unlike the Dojo decocam, the Orbiter decocam is a red zone, which can be equally annoying to deal with in tight spaces. And here are some smaller or minor things we would love to see added, but I won't explain them in detail because they are quite self-explanatory. The option to show the grid when using grid snap. Option to mirror decorations. And that would be so fucking cool for dojos too. An additional option for 0.01 meter in grid snap. A screen to view all items used in a build. And now we are at the point of the video where I have to be careful not to rant, so please bear with me. As of now, the MVP for getting decorations is Humbask. But we would love to be able to buy her items for resources too, instead of being time gated by standing, whilst also having to decide between arcanes or a pretty orbiter. Or at least adjust the prices a tad bit, because 5000 Ruf für nen Löffel. Sag mal, hast du den Arsch offen? And this goes for pretty much every NPC that sells decorations for standing. And the ones that do sell them for resources have a cycling inventory. That also has cycling prices. So depending on luck, you can get what you want for dirt cheap or your soul. Again, I don't want to rant, but I can't say anything nice about this system. Please let them have their entire decorating inventory for fixed prices. I can't really say the current system is fun at all, and some NPCs, I don't want to name any specifically, are just evil when it comes to their pricing and availability of items. Following up on that, one of the most intriguing thoughts from our community was the Orbiter item catalog. The idea is to have a collection of items to choose from, which can be built for resources. So basically the same way dojos can do it already. It would make decorating become a lot more accessible, whilst also giving people a reason to revisit areas of the game they wouldn't play otherwise. Since there's no need to fund items in the Orbiter, the Foundry could work as a replacement for that, so people would still need to grind for items, which is entirely fair. And because this list isn't long enough already, here's the rest of random ideas I didn't know where to put and will only explain further if necessary. So, the most obvious one would be,
we want more decorations!
Which is a topic by itself. I don't want to expand this too much, but here are some examples. Somebody asked for weapon articulars, and most people are actually just craving for more surfaces like walls and pillars and more textures, more colors, right? Yeah. And a Zariman fork. The lack of fork is crazy. A bigger range for scaling in both directions when scaling an item. Enigma Gyrum drops in Duviri should be affected by the Bountiful Harvest decree. Skins for the Transference chair. Bring back event decorations like the Oro, the Murix or the Earth hologram. Rework older bundles so we can buy the decorations separately from the bundle. Warframe scaled articulars like in the personal quarters. A void shell treatment for the Orbiter appearance. And the last request is to lower the capacity requirements for the Kumei statue.
Haha! You really thought I would forget to mention you in your request, Herr VX Schiller? Nein, of course nicht. Listen, Digital Extremes. One more thing we would love to see added is the option to choose skyboxes without the traveling to the corresponding planet. Imagine the possibilities. Oh, you want to come and visit my Raumschiff? Prepare for a long journey then, because I'm right now in front of the Brandenburger Tor, or the Kölner Dom, or the Zugspitze.
Yeah, this would sum it up for this video. I know this is quite a lot to ask for, but I'm also going in with zero expectations. As explained in the intro, I'm very thankful for what we already have. So if just one thing from this list is getting added, that's already a W for us. So thank you for listening, and we love you, DE.